John and Dan with another edition of Dan's Models, and we're looking at an HO scale model today.
Yep.
Looks like, well, let's see. If I had to guess, it's an SD something, right?
Yep.
Wow, I'm getting good at this, Dan. What is this?
This is an SD40-2. This actually started as an Athearn Blue Box model. It's decorated, obviously, for Canadian Pacific. I did it in the flag scheme, which fits right in with my 1990s era that I try to stick to with HO. And the reason I built this engine was as a companion engine for the Alco C630M that we detailed on the HO Weathering and Detailing Diesel series. And this was actually used in the run-by shots as the second unit. So, and it's not weathered very much because that's how the engine looked in the 90s when I have some photographs of this one. And it was pretty clean, like 94, 95. So I didn't go too crazy with weathering. And this is a little bit of a cheat. I mean, it's accurate to the real 6607, but what I mean by cheat is I wanted a Canadian Pacific SD40-2, but the GM Canada built SD40-2s actually have a lot of detail differences between from an American built SD40-2. So modeling one of those is kind of a pain. This actually represents a former Sioux-Line unit that CP got when they bought Sioux-Line. So it's an American-built SD40-2 that's become a Canadian Pacific engine.
Works for me.
Yeah. So anyway, this is probably, well, up until recently, was probably the nicest SD40-2 I'd ever built.
Oh. What's up with the bay windows? That looks like something off a house.
That is I had to actually custom make that part. On the engineer's side, they have that little bay window thing.
I wonder why.
Probably because it's Sioux-Line had a lot of those, probably because they operate in areas that are very cold and snowy. So the engineer could lean out the window without actually having it open.
Got it.
Yeah. The other side doesn't have it. The other side just has a sunshade. I have some Proto 2000 GP38s that came with the cab winter window or whatever it is. They came with something like that. But they had 3 vertical slats in the middle, or not 3, but 3 panes instead of 2 panes.
Right.
And so I had to cut it down, shorten it, make it into one with 2 panes, and then add some details on it and cut my own glass for it.
Wow.
So I really wish somebody made that. Unfortunately, I haven't found anyone who makes that part.
Somebody did. It was called you.
Yeah, but I meant like a nice photo etch part. If anyone ever does, this is only put on with, I think I used some Hobby Tack adhesive, so it could be easily removed if I felt like it. And that would, probably look a little better.
Yeah.
But it is what it is for the moment.
No, it looks fine. I wasn't criticizing. I was just wondering because it seems out of place to me to have that bay window on it.
It's because I mostly model SP and Santa Fe stuff, and they never had anything like that as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't need to. All the snow you get down in
New Mexico. After the desert.
Well, actually, there is snow in New Mexico.
There,
not like in Canada, though.
No,
right?
No, not like Canada. But anyway, I also had to custom make this beacon because the shape of it was different than any of the castings that I could find.
It looks kind of skinny.
It is. It's very narrow and skinny. And so what I did was I used a piece of plastic rod for the actual clear part, and then I used a turned-down piece of aluminum tubing for the base, and it's lit from below with a surface mount LED.
It looks good.
Yeah, this locomotive has a Loxound Select decoder in it, which has a pretty good beacon function. So, and also, of course, runs the ditch lights and the number boards. I made, obviously, work, front and rear. And there's a lot of other stuff. Ditch lights, of course, are deck mounted, and I don't know if you can see it, but there's no wires behind them.
Okay.
That's because they're lit with surface mount LEDs mounted inside. So all of the handrails are custom made. They're precision scale brass stanchions with brass wire, and they're all soldered together. And I also use some real 40 link per inch chain for the chain that goes across the front. It's got a Details West snowplow. I custom made my own uncoupling levers because the outer mounting brackets are mounted very far out, and the commercial pieces or commercial uncoupling levers I found don't have them mounted in the right place, and you just can't do it with them because there's the way they're bent. You couldn't fit it in there. So I also had to custom make these little extensions. It's not really a drop step because I think they're fixed in place. But this engine had that, and so I had to custom make those because I don't know of anybody who makes that part. The cab and short hood and cab base are all Canon parts. This panel here is a Canon part. So this has the extended range dynamic brakes, which is basically the stock Athearn casting, but I did drill it out and put Canon fans in here and a Details West horn. Also, it's got a Details, I think it's a Details West part, the winterization hatch, and then Detail Associates Q fans on the back, because Canon doesn't make Q fans, unfortunately. So I use these. And there's actually, although it doesn't really show too much, but this winterization cover here, it actually has a photo etch screen, and you can see through it. So I actually mounted an old Details West fan that it's not even a detailed fan. It's back when they were making them just a solid plastic. That's like probably more appropriate for a GP20 or something. It's a very one of those flat EMD fans, but it fit under here, and I thought through the screen, no one would know what kind of fan it was anyway, just so you could see something through it. But actually, it's so hard to see that it was almost like a waste of effort, to do that. Yeah.
But it's there.
I know it's there, yeah. I did a lot of work with putting the Details West air reservoirs and a bunch of details on the fuel tank. I had to custom make the little sight glass because it's a little piece that seemed to be unique to this engine, or at least I haven't seen it too common with two glasses right next to each other like that in a staggered formation. So I had to cut and paste some detail parts to make that work. The trucks have brake lines and all that stuff, and the deck has the Canon diamond plate tread, and which also comes with the photo etch steps, and I put on those on the corners. Yeah, so in the back, the stock Athearn shell just has it has the number boards there, but they're just outlines basically. So I had to completely cut these open, file them out, and then make some new glass for it, and then light them from behind with surface mount LEDs.
They're really bright.
Yeah, they probably could have used a little bigger resistor maybe. I don't know that I can make these too much dimmer by program. I think they're already set pretty low, because one of the things that Look Sound Select lets you do is reduce the volume of the lighting, so it's not as bright, but it only goes so far.
Yeah.
The headlights are all done with on both ends are done with fiber optics and internally mounted LEDs.
Yeah, they look so much better than the stuff that these kind of locomotives usually come with.
Yeah. Well, especially the stock Athearn Blue Box didn't even really come with much of anything. Just, I think, a little silly-looking headlight in the front, which is just a bulb behind some plastic, so...
But it lights up,
Yeah.
I mean, that's... I think at some point in the past, that's all that people cared about. It lights up.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you can make it look real.
Yeah, no, people's expectations have definitely gone up. I also had to custom make this little bent grab iron. All of the grab irons in the back are separately applied. I think the stock shell had cast on grab irons on the back.
Oh, wow.
So I had to file all that stuff off. All the details
probably just look like blobs.
Yeah, and then I put it all back and added nut bolt washer castings. So you're basically drilling two sets of holes, one for the grab iron and one for the nut bolt washer castings on the back where the things bolt on. So, and it's got, lift rings on the top and all that stuff. So pretty much anything you could do to a Athearn Blue Box SD40-2, I did to this model.
Almost like you could have just bought one,
Well, I know. I recently posted a different SD40-2 on the Facebook page, and somebody says, "Oh, you could have just bought an Intermountain."
Yeah.
And I'm like, thank you for, it's so nice after working for weeks, to build something like this, to get a snarky comment just makes my day. Sometimes, it's like you already have the model and I know I can build it, and why not?
Yeah. I'll give you something to do, right?
Yeah. I think his comment was you can save time, but who takes up a hobby to save time?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of, I don't know. I don't get it, but whatever. So before I run it, the model is painted with scale coat paint, and I think I used the Sioux-Line red, and of course black, and it's decaled with microscale decals. So let's listen to it.
Well, when we first started looking at this one, I wasn't as excited about it, but after seeing all the details and realizing how well it's done, I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's I don't make our model CP that much. I have actually just the two engines, and probably won't make any more. But they make it good for guest appearances.
Oh yeah,
you see a lot of foreign road engines sometimes. In various trains.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I can remember at least 2 times, once in Stockton and once in Roseville, where I saw a red like this. I don't know if it was CP or CN.
I think one of each. I think in Roseville we saw a CP, and in Stockton we saw a CN unit.
But the point is, they're out there, and you would see this on a UP line, or maybe even on
certainly.
SP or something. So.
Diesels are tend to wander around.
Yeah.
So anyway, the other thing you can't see it, but internally this has an A-line can motor, and it's been all tuned and make sure all the gears work right and everything, and it's got nickel silver wheels on it too.
Wow.
So in fact, I believe this started as an unpowered dummy unit.
Oh, wow.
Which came with the one thing nice about the unpowered Athearn units, at least the old school ones, is that the trucks can be made powered just by adding gears. They're the same structure as the powered truck. So all you have to do is get some gears, which are pretty easy to find, and the right metal wheels and everything, and you can turn a dummy unit into a powered unit.
I wish you could do that with people. All right. I guess that's it for this time. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, see you next time.